everyone, this is Seema Jhalani, your mentor from KYMS Academy. I welcome you all to this platform once again. Past year questions of CAT 24 slot 2 series is going on, and already we have discussed 5 questions of verbal ability, and today we are going to discuss 3 more questions on para summary from VA part. So let's get started and together we make it happen. As you know, I never start my video without a quote. So yet again, there is a beautiful quote. Learn from yesterday, live for today, hope for tomorrow. The important thing is not to stop questioning. It means what? That you need to reflect on your past and learn from your mistakes. Make the most of the day you are living in. Be hopeful for tomorrow and keep questioning yourself and keep seeking knowledge and understanding. So let's begin with the first para summary question. John Cleese told Fox News Digital that comedians do not have the freedom to be funny in 2022. So basically, author is talking about the current state, and author is saying that comedians today, they do not have the freedom to be funny. So basically, they should have the freedom, but nowadays they do not have. There's always been limitations on what they are allowed to say. Limitations का मतलब यहाँ पर हो गया restrictions, जो भी whatever they want to say, so there are certain restrictions on them. I think it's particularly worrying at the moment because you can only create in an atmosphere of freedom where you are not checking everything you say critically before you move on. What you have to be able to do is to build without knowing where you are going because you have never been there before. That's what creativity is. You have to be allowed to build, and a lot of comedians are sitting there, and when they think of something, they say something like, "Can I get away with it? I don't think so. So and so got into trouble, and he said that. Oh, she said that. You see what I mean?" And that is the death of creativity. So basically, in this paragraph, the author is talking about that comedians today, they do not have the freedom to be funny. Okay, they do not have the freedom whatever they want to say. So in a way, they try to self censorship. There is always been limitations on what they are allowed to say. Please said. I think it's particularly worrying at the moment because you can only create in an atmosphere of freedom where you are not checking everything you say critically before you move on. What you have to be able to do is to build without knowing where you are going because you have never been there before. That's what creativity is. You have to be allowed to build, and a lot of comedians now are sitting there, and when they think of something, they say something like, "Can I get away with it? I don't think so. So and so got into trouble, and he said that. Oh, she said that. You see what I mean?" And that's the death of creativity. So basically, in this paragraph, the person, John Cleese, he's trying to say that if we talk about the current state of the comedians, so they do not have the freedom to be funny. It means there are certain restrictions on them. वो क्या बोलना चाहते हैं उस पर उनको बहुत सारी restrictions लगा दी गई हैं. But restrictions उन्होंने खुद ने लगाई है या किसी और ने लगाई है, ये आगे वाला थोड़ा हमको paragraph बताएगा. But अभी author ये बोल रहा है that if comedian wants to say something, so they should have an atmosphere of freedom जहाँ पर वो कुछ भी मजाक कर पाए, कुछ भी कह पाए without offending the people. बट ऑथर यहाँ पर ये भी बोल रहा है कि जब उनको कुछ भी बोलते हैं, when they are cracking any joke on somebody, when they are trying to be funny, so obviously they should get an environment where they can speak anything freely. बट ऐसा नहीं हो रहा है और उनको जरूरत नहीं है अपने आप पर चेक करने की that what they are saying, so they do not have to be over critical. That's what creativity is. You have to be allowed to build. So here the author is defining that what is basically creativity. Creativity is something where you have an environment where you can create anything you feel like. And a lot of comedians now are sitting there. अब वो आज current state की बात कर रहा है कि like many comedians are there and who are actually pondering over this thing, and maybe they are being hesitant also that what they have to say. And when they think of something, they say something like, कैन आई गेट अवे विद इट, आई डोंट थिंक सो. सो बेसिकली ऑथर जो यहाँ पर बोल रहा है कॉमेडियंस के लिए, वो ये बोल रहा है कि कॉमेडियंस अपने आप को सेल्फ सेंसर कर लेते हैं. सेल्फ सेंसर इन व्हाट सेंस, दैट दे फील दैट इफ दे आर गोइंग टू say or speak anything funny about anybody, people might get offended, and if the people gets offended, this thing might take them into trouble. तो थोड़ा सा यहाँ पर मैं हेजिटेशन है whether whatever they are saying it is going to offend the people or not. और वो बेसिकली क्वेश्चन यहाँ पर इसलिए कर रहा है, कैन आई गेट अवे विद इट, इट मीन्स इफ आई स्पीक एनीथिंग देन आर यू गोइंग टू गिव मी द पनिशमेंट और यू विल लेट मी गो. तो बेसिकली यहाँ पर उसने एग्जाम्पल दिया है आगे, आई डोंट थिंक सो, और उसको ऐसा नहीं लगता है दैट इफ ही से समथिंग एंड इफ पीपल गेट offended तो दे आर नॉट गोइंग टू spare him. Okay, so and so got into trouble and he said that, oh she said that. Now you must be wondering कि यहाँ पर she किसके लिए आ रहा है. तो actually यहाँ पर she is just an example जहाँ पर author बोल रहा है कि there were comedians also and one of the comedians was female and maybe she cracked some joke on somebody and the people got offended. So at that time people criticized that person a lot, that comedian a lot who was a female, and she got into trouble. So somewhere or the other author feels that comedian को ऐसा ही लगता है that if they crack something, okay, if they crack any funny joke on somebody and if people take that joke other way, so obviously that thing might put them into some pain or suffering or trouble. You see what I mean? And that's the death of creativity. So if they are going to self-censor themselves, then obviously they are not going to come out with the creativity, okay? And that is going to be the death of creativity. That is going to stifle the creativity. So basically what we can say, the tone of the paragraph is what? That author is being little concerned about the comedians, और उनको जो freedom मिलना चाहिए वो definitely उनको मिलना ही चाहिए, rather than they self-censor themselves. Is better that they should speak out something and they should have the freedom of speaking, okay, cracking jokes on the people. So now let us check out the options. Comedians are being prevented from saying what they want, and that is the death of this art form. Fine. Now comedians को यहाँ पर रोका जा रहा है, but basically as you can see, whenever we go for para summary questions, you have to pick the main subject the author is talking about. So what is the main subject author is talking about? Indeed, author is talking about comedians, but basically what he's saying about the comedians, that they should have the atmosphere, the environment of freedom. So that freedom word should be there in my answer choice, which is missing in option 1. Therefore, I cannot keep option 1 as the right answer. Comedians must not check what they think and say. They must go where no one has gone before. Again, when paragraph summary questions are there, it should encapsulate the entire thing which is given in the paragraph. Okay, जैसे कि हमने beginning वाला part होना चाहिए, last वाला part होना चाहिए. But again, if you observe that this particular option is given in the paragraph, but that is only the partial statement, that is only one of the statement which has been taken from the paragraph. Okay, so it is not covering the entire thing, so therefore it cannot be the answer, though it is a correct statement, but it is not capturing all the things from the paragraph. Freedom and creativity are essential for comedy. So far so good. Freedom is there, creativity is there, it is essential, they are essential for comedy. Fear about offending people hinders originality. Now you can see in this particular option that first half is taken from the first half of the option is taken from the first half of the paragraph, and second half of the option has been taken from the second half of the paragraph. It means it is encapsulating each and everything, entire thing, freedom also, creativity also, fear about offending people, and in a way it is also stifling the creativity. So all the things are there in this option. So C is the right answer, but then let us verify the fourth option as well. Creativity and critical thinking cannot work together. Now beta, the moment you are going to read this option, creativity is okay, but is the author talking about critical thinking? No, author is not talking about the critical thinking. So again, this is a red flag. Therefore, I can eliminate fourth one as well. But let me read the entire option. Comedians must first be creative and later be critical. So in a way, the entire option doesn't sound correct. Therefore, through elimination, my answer is going to be 3. Clear? Understood? I hope there is no doubt. Okay, let us move on to Second paragraph. Recent important scientific findings have emerged from crossing the boundaries of scientific fields. First paragraph, first line of every paragraph is important. So here the author is talking about the interdisciplinary fields coming together. Okay, they stem from physicists collaborating with biologists, sociologists, and others to answer questions about our world. So basically, what the author is trying to say in the first two lines, कि जितनी भी हमारी important scientific findings हुई हैं उनके reasons क्या है that people, the scientists from different fields are coming together. Okay, and it is basically the collaboration of physicists with biologists, sociologists, and other scientists as well. And why they are coming together? Because they want to understand the world in a better manner. Now, as you can see, but is given, which is a transition word, and transition word is a magical word. And what did I say? What have I said you yet again and again about the transition word? That transition word represents the change of tone. Okay, अब यहाँ पर change of tone कैसे हो जाएगा? Let's see. But physicists and their potential collaborators often find their cultures out of sync. Though all the scientists are coming together, be it physicists, biologists, sociologists, they all are coming together. But yes, there is one challenge. And what is their challenge? कि उनको ऐसा लगता है that their cultures are not in synchronization. Here cultures, I mean to say maybe their method of working, their approach, their ideas. So obviously they are not in tune with each other. Okay, so this is one difference they are having. And because but is also given to, yes, indeed contrast is there. For one here means, for example, now author ने क्या example दिया है? Physicists often discard a lot of information while extracting broad patterns for other scientists. So can you see over here? In this line, we are talking about physicists, and in the next line, we are talking about other scientists. So what is the difference between physicists and other scientists, and how they differ in their ideas or approaches? So physicists, what they do, they discard a lot of information. It means they dispose the unnecessary information by highlighting the broad patterns, while rest of the scientists, what they do, information is not readily disposed. It means they retain the important information. So physicists, they discard unnecessary information, and other sciences, they retain the information. Further, again, when further is given, it means is the elaboration of the previous statement. Okay, so first we talked about what? Interdisciplinary ideas coming together, fields coming together. Then we went for the contrast, and then we talked about the physicists, they discard information. We talk about the other scientists, they retain information. And then one more elaborative point is there. Many non-physicists are uncomfortable with mathematical models. So I hope it's understood. Non-physicists, they are not comfortable with mathematical models. Still, again, the change of tone. The desire to work on something new and different is real, and there are clear benefits from the collision of views. The paragraph starts on a positive tone, it ends on a positive tone. In the midst of the paragraph, some contrasting points are there, okay? But any which way, author is ending the paragraph on a positive tone. So now what they are saying, though they differ in methods, approaches, still they have a keen desire to work on something which is very new and real. And there are clear benefits. So when they are coming together, obviously there are going to be some potential benefits. And the reasons is because many views are coming together, many ideas are coming together. Okay, so let's see the options now. Now what do you think? जब हम options पर जाएंगे तो हमारे पास क्या एक सब point होना चाहिए? Now you see, the entire option cannot be positive because it's a combination of both. The entire option cannot be negative. It means I have to see that option which is a combination of negative and positive, क्योंकि author ने यहाँ पर contrasting word का use किया है. Okay, so let's check out the options. Physicists have successfully buried their differences on research methods applied in other fields in their desire to find answers to baffling scientific questions. You know, to many students, this option appears very appealing. But now there is one point which is buried their differences. Buried their differences का मतलब क्या है कि हमने differences को ही खत्म कर दिया. ऐसा नहीं था. Differences were there, and spite of the differences, they were ready to work together. तो ऐसा नहीं था कि हमने उसको bury कर दिया था. Okay, so this is wrong. It cannot be the summary. Large data sets and mathematical models in physics research combined with the research methods of non-physicist collaboration have yielded important scientific findings. Now you see, there is an attractive word trap over here because large data sets भी हमारे paragraph में है, mathematical models भी हमारे paragraph में है. So normally we believe that yes, this can be the possible answer. But then here you see, the author has written that many non-physicists are uncomfortable. If they are uncomfortable means maybe they cannot come together, or maybe they are hesitant coming together. They are comfortable with the mathematical models. But what this option says that mathematical models in physics research combined with the research methods of non-physicists. No, they were not comfortable. Okay, so therefore this can be, in fact, this is wrong. The desire to diversify their research and answer important questions has led to several collaborations between physicists and other social scientists. As I told you earlier also, that if any paragraph is given and it's a combination of both the tones, negative and positive, but the option is entirely positive or entirely negative, that cannot be my answer choice, no matter how appealing it is to you. Okay, so this option is utterly positive. This cannot be my answer. And one more thing, author is not talking about the differences in this option, and for that reason I'm eliminating this option. So now what is left? It is option 4. So therefore option 4 is going to be my answer. But then let us read it first. Despite differences in their research styles, okay, this is given in the first part of paragraph. Physics research collaborations with scholars from other disciplines have yielded important research findings. So everything is given in this line. The first half of the paragraph is also given, and the last part of the paragraph is also given. It's a combination of negative and positive. Therefore, 4 is going to be the best answer choice. Clear? So now let us move on to the third paragraph. Different from individuals, states conduct warfare operations using the DIME model. Diplomacy, information, military, and economics. Most states do everything they can to inflict pain and confusion on their enemies before deploying the military. Here the author is talking about the DIME model, which states use at the time of war, and states they work differently from the individuals. And how they work differently from the individuals, that they apply the DIME model. अब DIME model क्या होता है? Diplomacy means talking and making deals. Information, controlling and spreading information. Military means sending the troops to the war zone area. And economics means related to money or sanctions. अब आगे की स्टेटमेंट ये बोलता है कि मोस्ट स्टेट्स दे डू एवरीथिंग दे कैन टू इन्फ्लिक्ट पेन. तो अगर वो एनिमीज को पेन देना चाहते हैं, कंफ्यूज करना चाहते हैं, तो बेसिकली वो करते क्या है? दे गो फॉर द मिलिट्री मॉडल एज अ लास्ट ऑप्शन. ओके, तो दे फर्स्ट गो फॉर द इंफॉर्मेशन, देन दे गो फॉर द डिप्लोमेसी, इकोनॉमिक्स, एंड देन कम्स द रोल ऑफ मिलिट्री. In fact, attacks on vectors of information are a well-worn tactic of war and usually are the first target when the charge begins. When the charge begins means when the war begins. तो basically states क्या करते हैं? उनका जो फर्स्ट टारगेट होता है वो इंफॉर्मेशन होता है, और इंफॉर्मेशन के थ्रू वो एनिमीज को क्या करते हैं? कंफ्यूज करते हैं. दे स्प्रेड दी फॉल्स इंफॉर्मेशन. ओके, और जो ये स्ट्रैटेजी है, टारगेटिंग इंफॉर्मेशन वाला स्ट्रैटेजी है, इट इज बेसिकली अ लॉन्ग स्टैंडिंग स्ट्रैटेजी. ये कोई नया नहीं है, पहले भी ऐसा हुआ करता था, राइट? It's common for telecom data and communication networks to be routinely monitored by governments, which is why the open data policies of the web are so concerning to many advocates of privacy and human rights. So in this line, the author is basically talking about the government surveillance of telecom data and communications. Okay, the government उन पर they keep an eye on the communication networks, और जो एडवोकेट करते हैं प्रिवेसी और ह्यूमन राइट्स के, दोज हु आर द सपोर्टर्स ऑफ प्रिवेसी एंड ह्यूमन राइट्स, तो ऑब्वियसली वो एक बहुत मेजर एरिया ऑफ कंसर्न है that if the government is spying on the data of the people, so obviously it is the major concern for the people who are basically want to keep their information private. Okay, with the worldwide adoption of social media, more governments are getting involved in low grade information warfare through the use of cyber troops. Now basically इसमें क्या कर रहा है, because we are living in the age of social media, so basically what the government is doing, government is spreading the false information and they are taking the help of cyber troops. अब cyber troops basically बेटा होते क्या है, cyber you know online, और troops basically stand for soldiers. तो ऑनलाइन सोल्जर्स जो होते हैं, तो बेसिकली दे आर नॉट यूजिंग द वेपन, ओके, but such people are being hired by the government and they are being paid for that also. और उनका काम क्या होता है, that they post the news, they post the fake news, और इस तरह से वो लोगों की पब्लिक ओपिनियन को अफेक्ट करते हैं. According to a study by the Oxford Internet Institute in 2020, cyber troops are government or political party actors tasked with manipulating public opinion online. So this is something which I conveyed to you right now. कि basically these troops are hired by the government or the political party and their job is to post the fake information so that they can manipulate the public opinion. Okay. The Oxford Research Group was able to identify 81 countries with active cyber troop operations, utilizing many different strategies to spread false information, including spending millions on online advertising. So basically, again, I would say it's a repetition of the previous sentence. यहाँ पर कुछ research हुआ था on 81 countries where they hired cyber troops. Okay, many cyber troops were there and they were utilizing all the strategies to spread the false and the fake information and they were spending huge on that particular thing. Okay, तो अब आपको क्या लगता है, what is the tone of the author? The tone of the author is that he is being little negative also. Okay, he's being concerned about the people who support the privacy and the human rights. So now let us check the options and let's see which is going to be the right option. As part of conducting information warfare, as per the DIME model. See here the main subject is DIME model, which is there in the first line and which is there in all the answer choice. So indeed it becomes important for all of us to read all the options, क्योंकि अगर DIME model किसी में नहीं होता तो it would have been easier for me to eliminate the option. बट अब चारों ही ऑप्शंस में अगर टाइम मॉडल है तो मुझे थोड़ा देखना पड़ेगा एंड हमको ये भी फाइंड आउट करना पड़ेगा कि ऑथर वेयर ही हैज प्लेड सर्टेन ट्रिक्स विद अस. ओके, so as part of conducting information warfare as per the DIME model, many governments routinely monitor telecom data and communications networks and use cyber troops on social media to manipulate public opinion. So can we say that this can be the answer? DIME model is given. Governments routinely monitor, okay, that is given. Use cyber troops on social media to manipulate public opinion. So cyber troop is there, DIME model is there, government is there. I think everything is there. So I'm going to keep it aside as of now. Following the DIME model, many governments have taken advantage of open data policies of the web to deploy cyber troops who manipulate domestic public opinion using advertising and other strategies to spread false information. Now see, here the catch is that in this option the word domestic is coming. Okay, now domestic word is not given in the paragraph. So if you are writing domestic, the author is being very specific, then the option is being very specific then, because in the paragraph author has not talked about the domestic public opinion. You can see over here it is only public opinion, therefore it is eliminated. Just for this word this option is going wrong. Okay, तो अगर ये वर्ड आपको एकदम कैच हो जाता है, वेल एंड गुड, बट अगर आप इस वर्ड को कैच नहीं कर पाते हो तो chances are there that students they are going to go for second as the answer. They may go for second as the answer. Third, governments primarily. Now this I taught you earlier also in one of the videos that when extreme words are given like primarily, major, continuously, always, never, these are the extreme words. If these words are not there in the paragraph, that cannot be the right option because of the word primarily, which is an extreme word, and this is also not given in the paragraph. Therefore, I cannot take third as the answer. Using the DIME model together with military operations, many governments simultaneously conduct information warfare with the help of cyber troops and routinely monitor telecom data and communications networks. बेटा इवन दिस ऑप्शन इट साउंड्स करेक्ट, यू नो. अब डेफिनेटली यहाँ पर आप कंफ्यूज होने वाले हैं बिटवीन 1 and 4, क्योंकि दोनों ही राइट जा रहे हैं, दोनों ही ऑप्शंस में एवरीथिंग इज गिवन. So now I have to see that particular thing on the basis of which I can eliminate my answer. So let me read option 1 once again. I will read option 4 also, and then we will compare the things. As part of conducting information warfare as per the DIME model, okay, so far so good. Many governments routinely monitor telecom data, communication network, it is given in the paragraph, and use cyber troops on social media to manipulate public opinion. Everything is given. I do not find any problem with this option. Using the DIME model together with military operations, देखो बेटा यहाँ पर जो सबसे बड़ा कैच है वो ये है, ओके, दे आर यूजिंग द डाइम मॉडल बट टुगेदर विद मिलिट्री ऑपरेशंस. नो, फर्स्ट दे आर यूजिंग द फर्स्ट थ्री मॉडल्स, दैट इज डिप्लोमेसी, इंफॉर्मेशन, मिलिट्री. और अगर इनसे नहीं काम बनता है देन ओनली द लास्ट रिसोर्ट इज military, but you cannot write together with military operations. Okay, so this part was something which was actually confusing. So now if your eyes go on this particular word, definitely you are going to figure out that this is going to be the wrong option. So what is the right option? It is 1. Clear? So in all the 3 paragraphs you have seen that some of the other POE techniques were there on the basis of which we could eliminate the wrong options and we went for the right answer. Okay, I hope you learned something from us today and keep learning with us. If you have any doubt, you can always visit our site and give us a call on this number. Thank you so much.